Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? That's wonderful. That's great energy. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. It is a privilege to be here in this closing keynote in the beautiful city of Copenhagen and to talk with all of you about the power of the platform. How the Power Platform is a set of tools that get more value the more you use them together. And to get us started, the best place to start always is our mission. What are we trying to accomplish? And our mission is to empower everyone that wants to build business software by providing them the best tools in the planet. In other words, if you have a business problem that can be solved with software, we want to give you the toolset that you always turn to solve that problem. And empowering everyone for us at Power Platform has a very specific meaning. The tools that are many, best in class, and we are super proud of, take the backseat. Your business needs, your context, your constraints, take the front seat. So it's all about you. It's making sure that the tools work for you and not the other way around. And that's why we say that the Power Platform is all about you. We put customers at the center, and we strive to provide you a toolset that no matter how you build your solutions, what you want them to do, or where you want to deploy them, this is the toolset that you can always rely on. And I know that this sounds a little bit abstract. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it more concrete with an example. And I'm going to use applications to set the example in this case. So when you build your applications, there are multiple ways in which you can build them. For example, you might decide that you want to do no code. You might want to do low code, vibe code nowadays, or pro code. Or whatever comes new in 5 months, that will be the next cool thing. We will have it. We have it all. In fact, now, one of the things that I see trending quite a bit is spec-driven development. And we will have it too. We have it. When it comes to what those applications do, whether they are web application, mobile application, desktop application, kiosk applications, we got it. Also, now that we have these applications that decompose and recompose, we also have it too. We will evolve the toolset as the market also evolves. And then, when it comes to where to deploy, similar story. Outside of your firewall, inside of your firewall, or in Copilot, we have it too. Because it's your solutions, your way. We don't want to give you a tool that will determine how are you going to solve your business problems. It's all the opposite. We want that your business problems can be solved with the best tools, and we want to give you the best tool set that includes all of them. So it's always about what you need. That always comes first. And now, all of this is augmented with agents and AI. And this mindset gives us a view that is more expansive, because you see, when you look at the tools this way, the sum of what all our business applications tool can do is unmatched. But if you continue applying this mindset and you zoom further, these tools are part of a larger ecosystem, one that has been in constant growth mode for the past 50 years. That is the Microsoft ecosystem. That includes tools like Azure, Office, GitHub Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, LinkedIn, and many, many more. So the power at your disposal is unmatchable. And with this, we aim to serve every audience at every level of complexity. Now, also this sounds a little bit too abstract, so I'm going to put it in context using an example. And I'm going to use applications again. And I'm going to pick 3 examples. One thing to be clear, I don't intend to be exhaustive on the different things that you can do applications, but rather explain this every audience, every complexity. So let's say that you are a business user and you have a high level of curiosity, you are good with software, or a team of business users for that matter, and you have a lot of needs that you need to solve very rapidly, and you know how to do it, but you want to do it safely. Canvas applications are a perfect fit for that scenario. Now, let's say that you're an independent software vendor. You're trying to create a large tool that will go to a very large audience. You want to operate at very high scale. You want to make it extensible. Microsoft did that with Dynamics 365, and you can do that with model-driven apps too. It's a great fit for scenarios like that. Now, let's say that you're a professional developer. You live and breathe code. You want to stay all day in code. You want to keep that level of control and manage that level of complexity. We have code apps. Now, one thing that I notice, and it's a question that I get quite a lot, is that people ask me, is it Canvas or is it model apps? Is it Canvas or code apps? Because for whatever reason, in many cases, these technologies are perceived as competing, one versus the other. But that's not how we want you to see them, because that's not how we are building them. In fact, the way in which we want you to see them and experiencing them is like one and the other. Because when you look at all of them as part of a larger tool set, all of these are what make Power Apps the best tool in the market to create business applications. It can hit every audience at every level of complexity in their own terms. And if you keep applying this expansive thinking, also that applies to all the business applications tools, and again, to the Microsoft ecosystem. So it keeps getting better and better and better. One very important thing to mention, though, I'm talking about a lot of choice and different ways of doing things, but there is one thing that remains the same no matter how, what, or where for your solutions. And it's the fact that everything is deployed on an enterprise-managed platform that gives you all the enterprise guarantees to do it safely and in an enterprise-ready way. So we have managed security, managed governance, reliability, operations, and all the things that you expect from a company like Microsoft. So no matter what you do, you will be able to do it at the right level of safety, security, and quality. And when you apply Power Platform at large, one of the things that I noticed that happen is one thing that I call the economy of building. It's a thing that I see that develops in many of our customers, and is supported by two very simple facts. The first one is that the more you build, the lower the cost per unit is. And as an example, when you get a Power Apps license, you can create 1 or 1,000 applications. It costs the same. The second thing is that those things that you build have a low total cost of ownership. And that's because we do not optimize only for the stage of creating something, but we optimize for the entire life cycle. And as a result, everyone is empowered to be a builder, resulting in a very good return of investment of everything that you invested on Power Platform. And a good way to show this concept is through an example that we all will be able to relate. Before joining Microsoft, I was an IT manager at a telecom company. And I had a backlog that was super long, probably like many of you do, but I could only do a fragment of that backlog. And then I could pick scattered items through the backlog, depending on who of my stakeholders will yell louder or who would have a bigger title. But interestingly, no matter how hard I tried, my stakeholders were always in a state of discontent. They were always unhappy. And that unhappiness turned them to solve problems on their own, resulting in a lot of shadow IT. So anything that you cannot do, the business will find its way. Power Platform helps to address this problem by making everyone a builder. With every audience, every complexity, now everyone is empowered to build. So from central IT to every one of those stakeholders that before were turning to shadow IT, now everyone can be a builder. And when they build, they will build with a low total cost of ownership and safety, so they will not be adding extra unnecessary burden to IT. And as a result, not only there's no shadow IT, but of course you solve that situation of stakeholders always in a state of unhappiness. And I know that it sounds really good, but you don't have to hear it only from me. I want to share 4 examples of customers that are already benefiting from these economies of building. So let's hear it from them.
We take these 4 forms, collecting customer input, and collapse them down into one single form. We developed it in 2 months. We put it out into production. It's been out there for a year, and nobody on the team has done anything with this. So the overhead and the time that we are spending maintaining this form is 0.
We had 4 different apps that they were using, and now we're down to 1. It's been running for over 2 years now, and there's, virtually no maintenance cost to this.
Yeah, and you think about that, we're getting away from the maintenance of the applications, upkeep, updates, and we're focused more on delivering value inside of the application as opposed to just keeping it running.
We had a team of 6 that said, let's go ahead and build a solution that we can give to all of our many of the thousands of people that need to see it. And we found out, we calculated it, it was saving over 18,000 hours per year. The maintenance in this app, it's almost like there's been no bugs. Like we kind of knocked out all the bugs at the beginning, which is great. What the maintenance has really been is like people saying, oh, I want this new feature now.
Really what we've done is we've kind of evolved that into centralizing them around one go-to-market sales app that we use to do a lot of disparate things that are consolidated from the ERP. For as much data and as much information and as much use we get out of this app, we don't get a lot of support tickets for it. It just works.
That is wonderful, right? And those are 4 examples, but we have many more around this room. In fact, this is a room full of builders. We have more than 2,000 builders here that empower a big part of the 56 million monthly active users that turn to Power Platform every month to meet their business needs with software. And I want to first thank profusely the European Power Platform community. This is an amazing community with really great innovation, and a really good way to celebrate this community is to hear some of the voices in the community. So let's hear it from some leaders in the community in Europe in their own voices.
Power Platform really allows us not just to create a space where we can quickly develop enterprise solutions, but where we can also safely and in a well-governed setting allow all of our employees to become citizen developers.
I actually drifted into using the Power Platform by accident to start with. I was working with Dynamics 365, and then I discovered Power Apps, and I've never really looked back since.
Products would do maybe 70 to 80% of what you wanted, but there was still a shortfall of what was actually then required for the full endurance solution. We saw Power Platform close that gap.
I will always remember my first app, not because it was particularly good, but it was like a stepping stone. It was like a trampoline.
As a security guard, I saw opportunities, I saw manual processes, and Power Platform opened my eyes where I could reduce manual processes.
The access to the technology is very easy. You can start with a small flow or with a small app just for yourself or your team.
I think what I love most about the Power Platform is how quick and how easy it is to produce beautiful things.
And that simplicity with the Power is the real blessing for any developer to be on this plan.
The simplicity and creativity when you want it, and while also getting the complexity and the robustness when you need it.
What I enjoy about it is that it enables me, but also other people like me who are not developers, to really take charge themselves and automate their daily tasks.
Power Platform is going in the very sweet spot. It's kind of the bridge between your no-code and pro-code, where you can have a very sophisticated enterprise scale application.
We have approximately 1,100 applications running in the business, about 430 makers over the last 12 months.
We are all developers, we are all makers, and assisted by AI and agents. I think we will see a new era in development.
I see the future as makers becoming entrepreneurs in their own organization, utilizing Copilot, utilizing AI.
The future of my role is probably going to morph from building everything myself to supporting other people and building the things that they want to build.
We are heading into a new technology era with AI, and I'm very excited to see what Microsoft can provide there.
Huge thank you to this great community. Probably many of the faces that you saw in the video, you might recognize through the conference. Many of these makers are right here with us. And what I want to say is a huge thank you in my name, but also in the name of the Power Platform team. It's awesome to partner and to build this platform together. Now, over the past few minutes, we were looking back. But now let's look forward a little bit. And probably a question that many of you might have is, how is the Power Platform evolving? How do you guys see it moving forward? And the strategy, in my mind, is super, super simple. At large, we are doing two things, two main things. One, we will harden, evolve, and improve the products that we have in market. Those products that you use, you know and love today in the Power Platform, we are investing heavily in making them better every single day. We will also make every solution agentic. We will bring AI to those products. Now, let's make this a little bit more concrete. So I'm sure that you heard this all before. You guys are making it better, sure, but can you prove it? And I'd like to share two numbers to make it a little bit more measurable. And these are two numbers that I'm quite proud of, are 38 and 24. 38 is the number of features that in the few months we advanced to GA, to general availability. And those were features that we either started new because you requested them, or that were in preview for a very long time, or things that were needed to move your businesses. At the same time, it's not always about adding. In this same period, we deprecated 24 features that were either in preview for a very long time, or you gave us feedback that the quality was low or were not working for you. And this shows our commitment, our continued commitment, because we are not nearly as done. I mean, we are in the journey, and we are in this journey together with you. So we will continue hardening, evolving, and improving the platform that we have through those products that you know, use, and love. And also, in addition to all those improvements, we will bring AI to those products. And again, two main ideas here. We will bring AI to the makers, so everyone that is creating, that is building, no matter you're creating a web page, a flow, an application, whatever that is that you are creating, you will be able to use the latest AI advancements. For example, it is by code or spec-driven right now, you will be able to do it across the platform. It doesn't matter what product you choose. And for your end users, we will bring AI where they are. And the way in which we want to do it is do it without disrupting what you have. You don't have to start over. If you already have apps, flows, pages, we will bring apps where they are. So you can preserve and evolve your existing investments, but also you can start new things with AI too if you want to. And we believe that this will provide the fastest path to agents, to solutions where humans and agents work collaboratively. And a really good example of that is building applications. And a very concrete example is Canvas apps. Any Canvas apps builders in the room? Oh, quite a lot. That's great. So basically, a way that is very common when you build these applications is you have a team of people building the application, right? But now, you can bring agents to the team. And those agents become team members that can do the same that any other member could do. Not only they can create screens, formulas, or whatever you need them to build, but also they can perform analysis, look at the performance of your applications, do refactoring, and the good thing is that they can come and go as you need. So you can use AI, burn those tokens when you need them on your terms. So I would like to show you in action. So for this first demo, we are going to see the power of the platform manifesting in humans and agents working together, combining Power Apps and GitHub Copilot. And what you are seeing here in the screen is an application from Centrica, an energy leader in Europe. And this is a field support application used by 7,500 people. It's a Canvas app that was built by a team of people here. You see, I have Claudio that is helping me build this app. And this app looks beautiful, and it was built fairly quickly by those humans because they use the modern controls that we GA'd recently. They have like the grid container, the new card control, the new grid. But now they need to evolve that application. They want to add a new screen, so when the field technicians are meeting customers, customers want to know how much are they going to pay when they, on their gas bill when they make some changes. And for that, we are going to bring an agent to the team to help us do that. I'm going to bring GitHub Copilot, which in this case I already connected to Power App. And this will result in having the agent in the team. I already connected it. There's a connection step that I did not do. But what I'm going to show you next, before I put that agent to work, is what we are going to ask the agent to do. So in this case, I have a very detailed Markdown file that explains my requirements. I'm going to show it in preview. So you see, I ask the inputs, the formulas, all that I want the agent to go do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it in GitHub Copilot and give it to the agent. And with this, the agent just got it to work. And notice that here in my team, it's two of us. It's me and the agent. This might take the agent a few minutes, probably realistically between 3 or 4 minutes, which is for sure much better than the hours or days that it would take to do it manually. Now, I already have a version of this app with the screen created, so let me show you what is going to be the output. I'm going to remove a bunch of things here so you can see it, but it's a screen where I can provide a bunch of inputs, and then it will provide many outputs that I can then read to the customer so we can have this very rich interaction, and they know how much are they going to pay. So far, so good. Now, one thing that would be nice, as I mentioned, agents not only have to write code. What if I want to understand better my Canvas app and see how is the performance of the app, right? I mean, that's a very common thing. So what I can do is I can bring a second agent to help me. And in this case, what I'm going to ask this agent to do is I'm going to ask it to analyze the app performance. And the way in which this will work is, in addition to our tools for authoring, we have a marketplace of skills that you can bring to those agents that help you build Canvas applications. That marketplace was created by our PowerCat team. So it distills everything that they learn working with customers around the world, and it's available to you all to use. One of those skills is the performance analyzer, and what it will do is look at my application and give me a set of recommendations. But the most interesting thing that is happening in the screen right now is that I have a Canvas app and a truly hybrid team of myself, Claudio, and 2 agents all working together in the same solution. Notice that the first thing that is asking me here, the tool is asking me who is going to be the report, whose name will be in the report. I'm going to put mine. It will go to work. But we are not going to wait for it to finish. You can imagine that it will do a great job at the report. In fact, let me show you. This is the report that you will get as a result. You'll get a bunch of issues with very detailed explanations of what to go do and how to improve your application. And of course, this is a cycle that goes on and on. I could bring another agent and give it some of these instructions to help me improve the application. But what's most important is that we just saw how, with Power Apps, we could very easily create a team that includes humans and agents working together if and when we need them. So going back to the deck, I'm going to introduce our next example where we will continue using the power of the platform. Because as I mentioned, these tools get better the more you use them together. They compound in value. And I just wanted to show you with some very concrete examples. So for this next demo, we have a situation where we have an operator in an insurance company that needs to use several tools to help their customers. And those tools are super old. There is this terminal application, and there is a desktop application that probably, at best, the people who wrote them retired, to be optimistic. They are super old. And we want to automate them. And I know of a tool to automate this that is super reliable and very cost-effective. And I'm sure you all know it too. That is Power Automate Desktop. So in this case, what we will do is we created a flow that automates calling these two tools and providing the details at the end. So the operator doesn't have to hop between the tools. So let's run it. I'm going to run the flow. It's asking me to provide a claim ID. Check this out. I'm giving 13, beautiful number. Then it's going to go. It's going to call the different applications. It's going to do its thing. And on the other side of it, what I will get is all the data that I need. And instead of spending tens of minutes, it will do it in less than a minute. So let's give it a few more seconds. And you see that it's almost done. One thing to notice, though, is that the way in which I'm interacting with the flow is quite basic. Look at that. I don't get like a very rich interaction, so it's very hard then to do anything with this. Wouldn't it be great if I could have a richer way of interacting with the flow? And for that, I know of a fantastic tool to create rich user experiences. And we all know it, it's Power Apps. So one of the things that we did is we integrated Power Apps and Power Automate flows. So desktop flows. So what you could do is basically from a workflow, you can call a Power App and pass all the context, and the app can call back as part of a single continuum. That's pretty cool in it by itself, but there's one more thing that you could do. It's the power of the platform. Desktop flows, Power Apps, and also we can bring GitHub Copilot. So what we did is, again, we created a detailed set of instructions in Markdown. I'm going to close this one. It's the Markdown, which instruct the agents on how to create a beautiful application to interact with these old applications. And let's take a look. Let's see it in action. Again, I'm not going to run the MCP. That we already saw how it is, so the application is already created. But I want to show you is what's the result on the other side once you combine all these technologies. So check it out. I'm running the flow, and now I'm getting a beautiful app. In this application, I can have richer interactions that also stay with me. The application can keep open all day long. And of course, I can interact in a much more friendly and much more useful way that is fully under my control, of course. It's non-constrained. And again, it compounds with everything that we saw before of agentic authoring. I mean, there's no limit to what this app can do. We create it with agents right now, and you can evolve it and expand it with agents too. And you see, I got everything that I needed here in the application, but in a much nicer experience that I don't need to close. It can stay open with me all day long. And here is where we are starting to see how the power of the platform compounds. Desktop flows, apps, GitHub Copilot, all together to automate something that was not automatable and to move a task from hours to less than a minute. Now, going back to the deck, in case that you were wondering, what does that workflow look like? This is what it looked like. What you are seeing here is the flowchart view for desktop flows, which we have right now in public preview, and we will have it it's in private preview, and it will go to public preview next month. So basically, also, through that view, you will be able to easily understand any flow that comes across you. And this is also part of like what we were talking about, evolving and improving our platform. One question that I get a lot from a lot of people when I do demos is, it's great that you show all these experiences from all these customers, but do you guys at Microsoft use any of these? You see the numbers that we have high scale, but how do you really use it? So what I'm going to do in the next few demos is I'm going to show you a few concrete examples of how do we use it at Microsoft, specifically in our team. And for the first demo, again, we will bring the power of the platform by combining model-driven apps, Copilot Studio, Microsoft 365 Copilot, to help us improve the work of product managers and to help us in that task of evolving and hardening the platform. So let's get to the demo. And in this case, what you're seeing is one thing that we call the punch list app. So what is this? Remember that I mentioned that we are improving the products that you use, right? One of those products is model-driven apps. And we added a lot of AI capabilities, and we have some super compelling scenarios where you come and you interact with agents, but in those scenarios, there are a lot of paper cuts that we are aware of. So basically what we want to do is we want to know of every single thing that gets in the way of making our scenarios amazing for each one of you and solve them methodically. So what we did is we created an application to help us track all those issues. And this is the application. It's a model-driven app. It's a plain model-driven app. It starts in a generative page that we built, of course, with the help of a coding agent. But the most interesting part happens when we go to see the list of items that we have. And this is actually the real list of items. This is the app that we use, and instead of tracking it with email when we meet every week to review, we review it from here. Every item has a very simple description, but the important thing is it needs to have people assigned to it, so it happens. And I'm going to show you a type of query that I would ask here. For example, show all items in the area AI features grouped by delivery status. So as I ask this question, the data exploration agent kicks in. And one thing to mention, this agent is GA, available to all of you to use in your applications, and you don't need to change your app to use it. It just shows up there if you configure it to show up. And it gave me a chart, which is pretty awesome. Look how cool it is. And in this chart, I can click, and it will click further. It keeps getting really cool, right? But there's one catch. Let's look at the items. There is one that says NL filter group by. I asked to group by. I didn't ask a chart. And this grid that we have here supports group by. The agent doesn't know how to translate my request to a group by. So one of the items that we are tracking, that we hope that we will have done in the next couple of weeks, is that if I ask group by, I get the chart, but also I get group by in the grid. That is what I was intending to see and what I expected to happen. And this is the type of items that we tracked through this application. Now, we are talking about the power of the platform. I want to show you something else that is very cool that we could do. So if I come to Copilot, notice that the Copilot that we have here is the full M365 Copilot. And this is available in any of your applications. This is also another of the features that we brought to GA. So let's say that I need to prepare for an internal meeting or I have a quick community call. I could ask Copilot, hey, create a PowerPoint presentation to present to the community with all the features with ETA in June. And basically, because it's not only the full power of Copilot, but also fully grounded in the context that I have in this application, all the data in this application, it will read the app, and it's going to give me that PowerPoint. And it will take probably about 50 seconds. So what I'm going to do in interest of time, I wrote exactly this one before. So just wanted to show you already done, because you will see the same thing. Basically, what it will do is it will go ahead and create a PowerPoint presentation that actually is pretty good, and I can use, at least as a starter point, to create that community presentation. Now, I will leave it working for a little bit while I'll tell you what's next, what I'm going to show you next. Because probably you might be thinking, this looks cool, but probably there's an awful lot of work that you all need to do to track and make sure that things get done, right? Like, for example, how do you know when somebody completed their work, when somebody got an item that is out of date, etc., etc. So instead of nagging people manually, we created a team of agents to help us do that. And those agents we created using Copilot Studio. For example, here we have one that I call the past, well, it's not that I call it, it's its name. It's the past due tracker agent that if any item is more than 3 days past due, it will let me know. It will do something about it. And by the way, a very important thing, agents don't have to be complex. You can do very simple things. They need to be useful, not complex. So we have 4 agents that help us move the process, so PMs and engineering managers don't have to be on top of them. And what we do next is once we have the agents, basically what we can do is connect them to an application and show them in what we call the agent feed. The agent feed is a feed of activity of everything that the agents that are contributing to my process are doing. In this case, I connected these 4 to my application, one that screens that the work items have the data, make sure that we have people assigned to the agents, that anything is past due, etc. And now what I can see is everything that they've been up to, anything that they completed, but most importantly, anywhere where they need my help. And because the agent feed is fully integrated in the app, I here see an item that is 7 days behind schedule. That's not cool. If I click on it, I can see exactly what it is and I can do something about it. And this is how, with apps, Copilot Studio, Microsoft 365 Copilot, and all these technologies, the power of the platform, we can take a process and transform how we run it and make it way more efficient. Now, going back to the deck, I'm going to introduce another case. This one is very near and dear to my heart. We have a video series that is called Keeping It Real with Power Platform. I'm not sure if any one of you saw it, but basically what we do is we invite makers that create large impact around the world to celebrate them, but also to inspire the community about the work that they do. And those 4 that you saw at the beginning, they were snippets from that series, from episodes that are coming in the next few weeks. One challenge that we have is how we share the series. We have a playlist in YouTube and we post it in LinkedIn. So if you didn't see it, you will miss it and it's very hard to find it again. So going back to the demo, this is the YouTube playlist, which probably most of you have not found yet, but we are going to fix it because what would be nice is to have a site for keeping it real, right? Wouldn't it be nice? And I know of a technology that builds fantastic, secure, enterprise-grade sites, and probably many of you do too, right? Which is Power Pages. And that's what we will use to build the Keeping It Real site. But the way in which I want to do it, and at this point, I'm sure that you guess how I want to build it, I don't want to do it manually. I want to use coding agents. And the way in which I want to do it is very similar to what I did before. I have a spec for what I want the site to do, and I'm going to bring coding agents through an MCP for authoring, in this case the one for pages, that is available to you all to use, to help me with the authoring. And I'm not going to run it here because the reality is that this process takes between 15, 20, or even up to 30 minutes. But why does it take so long? It's because it's not just that you one-shot and ask, and it just does something. You are creating a site. So basically, it needs to ask you a lot of questions, and you need to co-create with the agent. So it's going to ask questions about the design language that you want, different choices that you want to do for the backend. And again, we don't have to drain all those choices, but the thing that I want to express, the main idea here, is that once you fire off this agent, basically, you engage in a conversation that will take a while, but you're giving a lot of information to get exactly what you need. And on the other side, what I got is a site that looks like this. This site, which I believe looks pretty cool, it's backed by Dataverse data also, which also I think is great. But before we go back to that, I want to show you a couple of things that demonstrate how the process works. First, I did not only get a site, but I got a set of documents that the agent produced as well. One of them is when we had a discussion about the design system, it produced a document that reflects the outcome of that discussion. So I can see what are the design choices for the site. And again, all this was part of the discussion that we had. It created the data model, and it gives me a rationale of the tables that it used, and also the entity relationship diagram, so I can understand what data is supporting my site. And also, we had a discussion about backend integrations, so it gave me like a detailed description of anything that it did there. And speaking of tables, because this is in Dataverse, I would like to have a really good way to edit the data in Dataverse, and I don't want to do it manually. And I know of a product, I can do it with a model-driven app, for example, very quickly. The way in which, and we did actually, but the way in which we did it, and you might have guessed again, is I used a model-driven app authoring MCP when I gave a spec of what I wanted, and it created the full application. And that MCP is coming soon to you all in the next few weeks. And going back to the deck, I'm going to introduce the last demo. I'm sure that many of you are all the time discussing how is work changing, right? Work is evolving. We saw a little bit of snippet of it when we were looking at our item tracker application, that PMs don't have to do the nagging, an agent will do it for them. It's a non-fulfilling part of the job, so it's great that an agent can do it in this case. But an important thing, sorry, the Keeping It Real site, we published it, and it's available to you all to use it. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. This QR code gives you access to that site. If not, it's that URL. But please take a look at the site. And in the site also, you can sign up to do a session yourself. So let me know what you think. And also, I would love to see your submissions if there's anything that you want to share with the community. But going back to what I was saying, we are transforming work. And one of the most obvious things for us in the engineering disciplines is, you know what? We are transforming work. We are going to get agents to write the code. But that's probably the most obvious one. What about product managers? Right? So one of the things that we did in our team is we created a team of agents to support all product management tasks. And it's very extensive and can do almost all of it. And we could interact with those agents in Copilot Studio. And we could interact with those agents in Microsoft 365 Copilot. That was our main channel of communication. But you don't always know what to ask an agent, right? When you're in a chat interface. For example, when we run experiments, we have agents that can help end-to-end to run the experiment. But how do you browse? What experiments do you have? And how do you look at past experiments if you don't know even that they exist? So because we found that need, we created, in addition to the agents, an application to help us interact with the outcome of those agents. And we call those agents and the application Product Pilot. And it's a key part of how our product team operates. It elevates our product functions. So I want to show you briefly the application. So getting back to the demo, what you are seeing here is the application in demo mode. So basically, this data that you're seeing here in the screen is not really smoke data. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the list of experiments. And although we are in demo mode, this is the real list of experiments. So this is what we use internally. And I want to call out one experiment. Check this out. That probably will make a lot of people in this room very happy. Here is one that says column differentiation in tables. First, for starters, I don't have to ask an agent to give me all these things in chat. I can browse through them. I would not know that this existed otherwise. And if I go to the details, notice that in Dataverse, you get a lot of columns. Now we have an experiment to filter which ones are yours and which ones are system columns. Yeah, that's cool, right? Yeah. The cool thing about Product Pilot is not only that we are running the experiment that is cool in it by itself, and again goes back to our theme of hardening the platform and evolving, etc., but also that you get all kinds of assistance and visibility into the p-values and everything that you would get in experimentation. And even with some others, for example, you might get a recommendation once the experiment's finished. Ship it. It's inconclusive. It doesn't work. So basically, it's a really great way of combining apps, Copilot, agents, all together to transform how a business function works, right? And one thing, we talk about code apps versus Canvas apps. What do you think this is? A Canvas, code apps? This is a Canvas app built with the MCP, but could have been a code apps. It doesn't matter. We have another app that is part of Product Pilot that is a code app, and it looks identical. And that's the point. It should not matter. It's the context, it's the need. In this case, this app was built by the product team, and they prefer to stay operating in the low-code space because that's what they feel more comfortable with. But we have other similar apps that part of this that were created by people that prefer code, and we use code apps. They all look the same, and they all do the same. So going back to the deck, these are really good examples of hitting every audience at every complexity. And you might be thinking, this is great, these are all things that I know, but you are not going to send a rocket to the moon with Power Platform, right? But would you, right? Maybe you would. And NASA is one of our large customers, and I would like to invite Chris Blakely from NASA to inspire us all with the awesome things that they're doing with Power Platform at NASA. So Chris, please join me on stage, and please give him a very warm welcome.
Hey, how's it going, Leon?
Hey,
It is
Chris.
great to share the stage in Copenhagen with you, I tell you that.
Absolutely, it's great to be with you here as well. So Chris, you run Power Platform at NASA.
I do. NASA's had it since about 2019, but we didn't dedicate the resources to it until about 2023 when I took it over. I had two requirements for the CIO when I took it over, and I said, I need support, which comes in the form of training, help desk type support, as well as a broad community of practice. And then the second thing I needed was access to Dataverse, so I needed the Power App Premium license across the agency. So in order to scale up to the 50,000 users that we had, I needed those two things. For training, one thing I thought I'd share was we did two hackathon events that we called the Powerpalooza event. This was something we did yearly for 2 years. We started with 7,000 users. This was something that we did. We had Microsoft support, we had training, and they came up with their own problems. And I really wanted to solve their problems during this hackathon. I didn't want it to be scripted. So during those 2 years, we went from 7,000 active users to 47,000 active users today. And that was a big piece of it, was to get them trained and fill their toolbox with tools.
That's super cool. And I know that you build super amazing tools. Is there any tool that you can show us?
Sure. Turns out I brought one with me, so let me show that.
Let's go to it.
All right. So before I begin, I wanted to remind everybody about the last mission we just had in April. Artemis 2 launched on April 1st. It launched from Kennedy Space Center, which happens to be where I work. It was a beautiful launch. They did 24 hours around the Earth where they did a bunch of system tests. And it turns out that we have a connection with Europe. The ESM, the European Service Module, was actually the piece underneath the Orion crew capsule that propelled it to translunar orbit that sent it around the moon. So there's a connection there, right? This sent 4 astronauts on a 10-day mission, further than any human in our species has ever been. So I'm very proud of the mission. They brought it back, landed safely off the coast of California, and that sets the stage for the actual application that was built. So while I talk about this application, I wanted to set the stage because I didn't build this one. This is something that some engineer, we have a lot of smart engineers, scientists that work at NASA, and I knew that if I got the tools into their hands, they'd build something interesting that I would never think about. And this engineer actually participated in those 2 hackathons I mentioned. He got trained up as sort of the 101 the first year, trained up in the 201 level second year, and this is what he was after. And what this is a launch tracker. What he found at his base job was that he had a problem. He had 3 different legacy solutions that were feeding data prior to launch that were not really shown in a way that everybody could consume. So you can see here that he built this application. It's a Canvas application with lots and lots and lots of tests that have to happen before the rocket launches. So these tests, if you may be familiar with the last 3 seconds of the launch, right? 3, 2, 1, and then you get to see the great launch. This actually starts 48 hours before that 3-second countdown. And so this was a tracker that he built, and it was able to go show you what was going on with the rocket at any point in time live, and would let you see what tests were completed, what tests were in flow, and what tests have yet to be done, and let you know if there were any blockers to let us try to plan out how that might affect the eventual launch. You can split it up by the different sections. So you could look at the stages, you could look at the booster, you could look at the Orion crew capsule. And depending on what was needed to be done, you can then click into these configurations to see what either has been done or what needed to be done. They had a couple different views. This timeline view gives you from T-48 all the way down to T-0. And then they had milestones along the way to show you any of the milestones that needed to hit before it would launch. This was rolled out to 23 different organizations across NASA as the sort of a test bed, all the way up to the administrator. The administrator loved it and said, let's use this for Artemis 3, which is our next launch in 2027. Is this groundbreaking? No. Is it chock full of AI? No. Do I care? No, of course not. Does it solve his problem? That's the only question I care about, and the answer is yes. So he built a platform that we can then build upon and give him better tools to go and add new things to it, and that's really all I was after.
That's fantastic, right? And Chris, you have other cool solutions also that it would be great if you could share what they are with this audience. They will love it. I love them.
Yeah, so obviously we do HR apps, we do finance apps, just like everyone else here I'm sure does. But we also have done applications to track the Orion crew capsule. So that capsule that held all the astronauts on that 10-day camping trip, that was something that has to be tested for years before it ever gets launched. That's actually at Kennedy Space Center as well, and it goes through many different phases, and we built an app to help track the logs, all the tests that have to happen, let everyone across the agency know what's going on at any time, because people are often tied into their Orion crew capsule dependent on, not dependent on location. So we have people in California, up in DC, they all want to know what's going on at any given time. That app tracks that. We also have a spacecraft on-orbit anomaly reporting system, which essentially is when there's a spacecraft that has an issue, maybe a micrometeorite impact, maybe something fails, they track that and they build after-action reports on that. So we built a system to track those for them. So whenever they need to have a resolution, they have a full list now in Dataverse, secure, that they can go reach anytime they needed it.
This is super cool, Chris. Thank you very much for sharing it with us and inspiring us all.
Thank you very much.
Amazing, right? Well, if you don't go to space and you want to stay on Earth, wouldn't it be awesome if you could create a successful business with Power Platform? And we have great examples of that, but one that stands out is Provence, that created an ITSM product all built on Power Platform. And they support very large and demanding customers, and one of them is the City Council of Leeds. So let's hear from Provence and the City Council of Leeds how this is going, but in their own voice.
Is a long-standing Microsoft ISV, and we specialize in delivering ITSM and IT asset management products globally. We bet our business on Power Platform and the Power Apps.
We're a local government organisation that take care of community, social care, housing within our local community. Every minute, one of our internal employees takes away from their job because they've got an IT issue that they can't resolve is a minute that they're not spending with a member of the public helping them with their problems.
So Leeds approached us with a simple problem. They had a legacy BMC application that was difficult to adopt to their growing needs. Also didn't integrate fully with the existing Microsoft investments, which meant they had some technical debt as well as a lot of manual processes they needed to solve.
Provence service team is a Power Platform application built within our strategic platform. It allowed us to use our existing in-house Power Platform resources to be able to implement a full end-to-end ITSM product. What was really impressive is the team collectively working with Provence were able to implement that in just 12 weeks with a full MVP for an ITSM replacement, which is a pace that I haven't seen before.
Couldn't have done this without the platform, the Power Platform, which Leeds City Council have chosen strategically as the platform for them to adopt and grow and scale as their business grows. I'm so excited for the future.
Yes. And there's no better testament to a great company than a great product and being able to speak about it together with your customers. And Provence is a great living example of that. Next, there's one more company that I want to introduce to you all that is using the power of the platform to create a great business, and it's Context And. Context And has been consistently at the forefront of beautiful, high-quality experiences and AI. Every one of their releases, in my opinion, is state-of-the-art and sets a bar to what's possible and what great applications should look like. And I've been following all the releases super closely and be inspired by all of them when they come out. And another great thing about them is that they're local from Copenhagen. So I'd like to introduce Peter Kestenholz from Context and to show us the awesome work that he and the team are doing. So Peter, please join us on stage and give him a warm welcome.
Thanks, Leon.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for allowing me on stage.
No, thanks. And thanks for the awesome job that you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit about Context and?
Yeah, Context and is a Microsoft partner and an ISV as well. We've been doing business applications for more than 20 years. We both offer our own IP, of course also Dynamics, and we build any custom application we need to for our customers.
That is wonderful. And you've been building an application for several years that you have been making better and better. So what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, one of them is called the Projectum XPM. It used to be called Power PPM, which is basically a project portfolio strategy management tool that we've had for, I think, more than 8 years now. Of course, built on Power Platform, so Dataverse first, and this is where we're just continuing to add new layers on top of the core solution. And in these times, it's basically also a creativity layer, thanks to AI, that hopefully I can show a little bit of as well.
Actually, why don't we go and see it? It's an awesome application, and I would love to inspire everyone with the great product that you built.
Let's try and see. So, here you go. And just wait to see that everyone can see what I'm seeing, which should happen soon.
Let's get to the demo, or to Peter's machine.
Yeah,
perfect, we got it.
Good. Okay, so I have a lot of stuff to share, but limited time, so I'll be very quick. But here's an example on where we log into our, of course, model-driven app. And what I see here is actually a combination of a welcome page, but also a dashboard / report / whatever we want to call it, insights. So when I'm here, I can see myself, I'm logged on, and I can click on this portfolios. It could be projects, it could be tasks, risks, whatever. It could also be more dashboards that are available to all. So, of course, an alternative to Power BI, not a replacement, but something that can be useful in this context. And, of course, interactive. So that's the starting point for where we've done a few tweaks thanks to AI as well, obviously vibe-coded. Moving from here, of course, we can also change the views, basically. So this is our old idea hub, so where you can track and handle creation of new ideas. And, of course, this can also be completely tweaked in many different ways, depending on what we're into. It could be something like this, where we create a new idea, pops up, drags it in, works immediately, switch by department, type owner, and so on and so forth. But these are just sort of the visual layer. The thing that has changed a little bit is the ability for us to manipulate the data and do scenarios. That's actually what I really want to show. So what you see here is a long list of course, here we changed the view as well, but a list of projects, and sometimes we have customers with more than 1,000 projects, and 10,000 projects and beyond. So when they need to know what to say yes or no to, because we don't have the money to run them all, basically, down here in the strategy layer is where I have something called a scenario builder. So this one is actually loading all the projects that I have from Dataverse. I can also load all the different fields I might have. These are 4 that are selected. I could add one more called the 2027 budget. And there's a budget. And if I wanted to prioritize everything against the budget, I could just click on that. This and here and so forth. Maybe you've seen this before. Some of you, it's called the Table Sorter Power BI Custom Visual. It's been around for 12 years. It's even on GitHub. And I took that and we sort of revived it into a Power Apps context instead. Here, of course, what customers tend to do for us is to prioritize against all these different criteria, selecting them manually, seeing the result. You can typically see you can afford them maybe, but you don't have the resources. So you can then go in and say, let's try and move this one or that one, and all is good. But if you have 10,000 projects and you want to do scenarios, you don't want to sit and drag and drop every single one, right? You want to have some help to do that. So up here, I have something called assisted scenarios, where I can go in and say there are some startup prompts, but let's say this one, maximize strategic value with, let's change it, could be anything, let's say 80 million in budget, prioritize projects with the payback time within 20 months, and the must runs we have to do. Plus, let's say for this scenario, it's 80% focus on ROI, so sort of the ingredients. And then you just run the analysis, and we wait a little bit. You can actually see behind the scenes, it's selected some projects. You can also see money that's left, how many are funded, so on and so forth. So you'll have to run these. These are must runs, and these down here are then your selection of choice based on the strategy and the money. Now, this is nice, and quite often what customers are asking us to help them with, this assistance. The thing is, they all think it's an AI thing. And it's not, of course. This is not what I just did, it's just basic math put into a vibe-coded page that allows it to do it real time, of course, but it's not AI. And there's a tendency sometimes that everyone asks for AI, even if basic math can actually solve the problem. So that's one aspect that I wanted to show. The other one is, of course, when to use AI. So if you go back here and you say, okay, let's save this as a scenario. That's the Bella scenario or whatever. Now we have a bunch of scenarios. And I want actually to hand this over to Copilot to get some sort of an assessment of what I'm about to do here. The thing is, I'm not saving these scenarios necessarily in Dataverse right now. I'm just simulating stuff. So no write back. So how do I hand it over to AI in a useful way? And that's where I have this copy to AI button, where I can say, take the current view or the scenario we just did, or 3 of them, I don't know, like this, copy it. So it's basically copying it to Markdown in real time. So when I open up Copilot on the right-hand side, I can just paste and hit the submit button. Didn't select which model so you go for. Typically it goes for the heavy one because it's a lot of data. So it'll probably start down here to do some small Python in a few seconds. It's not going to take long. And when it's done doing that, you'll see a complete assessment on these different scenarios, doing comparisons, like you'll see down here in just a second. So this approach means, of course, that I can work with data that isn't even saved yet. It's just cached. It also means that I can basically, even if people should all use Copilot, let's say they didn't, they could actually paste it into whatever chatbot and get a result as well. Now, if this takes forever, and it does if you take 10 scenarios and 1,000 projects, it's going to take 20 minutes maybe. That's where I would typically go to co-work instead. Do the same thing or automate it, but down here you have, I did this yesterday, so we didn't have to wait 20 minutes for this to load. But it's the same thing. I did the pasting up here. It does the same sort of reply, but here I can also say, please create the export as a PowerPoint. And like you showed before, you'll see the same thing. The data pops up in a PowerPoint, and it creates the charts on the fly, and so on and so forth. So that's the real AI part. The other one was math, and then we have a bunch of vibe coding on top of Dataverse to make this all come together.
This is super cool, Chris. Thank you very much for showing us all of this.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay, done. Thanks.
How cool is that application, right? And also that thing of math and AI. I thought that was a fantastic takeaway. So let's recap. And I'm sure you all know this one, right? When you all have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But with Power Platform, we do not give you just a hammer. We give you a tool set. We give you the best tool set to create business solutions. Business solutions that are enterprise ready, that are safe, that have the right level of security, that can solve everything that you need in your terms. As we finish this session, I want to leave you with one call to action. And it's in case that you are wondering, how do I get started? If you didn't, just start building. The tools are better than they ever were, but also they are getting better every single day. If you are already building, keep building. We are going to make the tools that you have better and better every single day, and we will do it together. A very important thing that I want everyone to take away is that we are bringing AI to the tools and solutions that you already have and solutions that you already created, so you don't have to start over. If you start from scratch, you can benefit from AI, of course, but if you have already solutions that you invested on and are key to your business, you can bring AI to those solutions. And we will bring AI to help the makers of those solutions, but also the end users of those solutions. It's never been a better time to build with Power Platform. And with that, that completes our time together here in this session in Copenhagen. But I would love to invite you all to the Power Platform community in Vegas that will happen in October.